Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and I know it's been a month since I actually done an episode, so this will be the first episode of 2018. Sorry it took me this long to actually get an episode going. The first couple weeks I haven't been feeling well, and also I actually had a couple presentations I had to do for the museum, and so that's why I actually couldn't get the episode on time last week and even in the week before. So, but I'll actually get the Q&A episode started. So this is a Q&A episode, and we'll actually get started in this 2018 with Q&A. So let's actually get started, shall we? John from South Sioux City, Nebraska asks, using mammals for reference, could sauropods have slept on their feet? That is a very good question. Since that sauropods are large-bodied animals, could they have actually possibly stood on their feet while they were sleeping? Kind of like cattle do that today, and some cattle do that today, and certain other mammals do that as well. Could they have slept on their feet? It's a possibility. It might actually be a really good reference to say that elephants do that, and certain mammals do that, like cattle, like I mentioned. But would they actually do that all the time? I would think maybe. I think maybe. It's a possibility that they could possibly slept on their feet, because they need to be alert all the time for predators, so they actually have to make sure that like their ears are always on alert, and possibly they might have actually had to maybe sleep with one eye open, so that way they can actually make sure that like if there's a predator around, they can actually just wake up in a flash and be ready to go. But larger ones wouldn't have to worry about predation, but the juveniles would. So, but I think it's a possibility that they could actually have slept on their feet. It's still unknown, but we don't know what the sleeping patterns are for certain prehistoric animals. But it's still going to be. I think it possibly might have happened. And Benjamin from Hong Kong. It seems to get a lot of questions about Torvosaurus, and I'll get you to your first one first. Is Torvosaurus close to Tyrannosaurus Rex in size? Is Torvosaurus close to Tyrannosaurus Rex in size? Kind of. But Torvosaurus is smaller than T-Rex. One thing is for certain is that Torvosaurus is not as long and not as tall as Tyrannosaurus Rex. And also, it's not as massive as Tyrannosaurus Rex in terms of weight. Because Torvosaurus would actually be like 4 to 5 tons and 4 to 6 tons in weight, whereas a Tyrannosaurus Rex would actually be 6 to 9 tons in weight, which is actually astounding weight difference there. And then also, Tyrannosaurus Rex is actually between 40 to 45 feet, whereas Torvosaurus is 35 to 40 feet. So there's a length difference there in height. Tyrannosaurus Rex is actually 13 to 16 feet tall, and whereas the Torvosaurus, we don't know its true height is, but it could actually be maybe 10 feet. So that's pretty much, I think, where it's going to come down to, is that the size are not equal. So Torvosaurus and T-Rex are kind of close in size, but not really. Why is Torvosaurus similar to Allosaurus? Well, one thing is for certain is that their skulls are nearly the same, but except Allosaurus is actually a little bit more of an advanced dinosaur than Torvosaurus. Torvosaurus is a larger megalosaurid type of dinosaur, whereas Allosaurus belongs to Allosauridae, which is the more advanced group of theropods that came in the Jurassic. And so that in the late Jurassic, and so you actually have two different kinds of species differentiation. They both have 3 claws on their hands, 3-fingered hands, and they nearly hunted the same prey. It's just that Allosaurus probably might have actually been going after a large to medium-sized prey, whereas Torvosaurus pretty much just took on larger prey. So they probably nearly actually had the same prey, but it's just that they probably avoided each other, most likely. So that's probably why they actually might actually not interact that much, but Torvosaurus is very rare compared to Allosaurus. So we don't have that many bones of Torvosaurus, whereas we have tons of Allosaurus bones to look at, and so and all that sort of stuff. How come Torvosaurus did not break off a claw when it took down Allosaurus, and was the claws of Torvosaurus designed for slashing or for holding on to prey? Well, if Torvosaurus and Allosaurus actually did fight each other, but I think that that's highly unlikely because they would have avoided each other as much as possible, why would Torvosaurus actually not lose a claw? Well, first of all, it's risky. It's risky to fight each other because you're more likely to get injured that way, and so it's not likely that they're actually going to fight each other like physically. They're actually just going to fight each other like possibly vocally and display. So that's probably what they're actually going to be doing, is that you probably have a group of Allosaurus standing their ground, whereas you have a single Torvosaurus possibly trying to steal the kill of an Allosaurus, but even though it might not go very well for Torvosaurus, but even though size does matter in that particular time, so it would actually be easier for Torvosaurus to actually get a kill out of an Allosaurus. But they would not actually fight each other very often, so that's one thing. And were Torvosaurus' claws designed for slashing or hanging onto prey? Well, if you look at Megalosaurid claws, they're nearly similar to Allosaurid hand claws, is that they're round underneath. So it's not going to be a slashing claw. That's one thing is for certain. It's because, you see, large predatory dinosaurs don't have like a blade underneath their claw. Some raptorial dinosaurs have like a blade underneath their claw, but it's highly unlikely that they did use them for slashing. But you see, when we actually look at Torvosaurus, Allosaurus, and even T-Rex and Giganotosaurus, and even Spinosaurus and the Spinosaurids, they're not designed for slashing. All they're doing is grabbing and hanging on. That's what they're most likely doing, is grabbing and hanging on. Because if you're hunting down big game, you need to actually hang on to it. Or otherwise, if it's smaller than you, you need to hang on to it. But even though larger prey might not actually be a good idea to actually use your hand claws, you're more likely using your jaws to actually make the slashing bites, because Torvosaurus has got those blade-like teeth, kind of like a knife, to actually slice off chunks of flesh off of the prey and not hit bone. And so that's where you're going to have the problems. Whereas, like, if you look at Tyrannosaurus Rex, their arms are not used to grabbing. Their arms are not used to grab anything. Males probably use them a little bit more than females, and so the arms are probably nearly useless for Tyrannosaurus Rex. Whereas Spinosaurids, they use their arms a lot to grab hold of prey that is a bit smaller than them. So that's the reason why you actually see certain dinosaurs have these like rounded claws to actually hang on. Allosaurus, when it goes after smaller prey, it needs to hang on to it, like say Camptosaurus. Camptosaurus is good prey for Allosaurus to grab and hang on and deliver a good bite to the head and neck area. Whereas Stegosaurus, you do not need your hand claws. You need your jaws in order to actually take down that animal. In sauropods, you need your jaws to do that. You don't need your hands. You do not need your hands. But if you are jumping on top of prey, it is more likely that they probably need those claws to actually hang on and actually deliver as many bites as possible. But Allosaurus probably did not do that very often, and also Torvosaurus did not do that very often. They probably used their jaws most of the time to actually make the kills. All right, that's it for now. Now next week will be a new special episode. So if you got any dinosaurs or any other prehistoric animals you want me to talk about, or otherwise if there's a dinosaur or a prehistoric animal I already talked about but there's new information about it, feel free to actually let me know, so that way I can do a redux, and that way I can actually give you the new information. And you can send me those suggestions by emailing me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or as go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts of Dino Chris, and like the page, you can post whatever kind of prehistoric animals you want me to talk about. And all the prehistoric animals don't have to be just dinosaurs. It could be prehistoric mammals, could be prehistoric birds, could be prehistoric reptiles, amphibians. Mainly I like to talk about the vertebrates because that's my specialty. And also you can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or as go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post your questions on the comment section or even on the wall, and I can read it carefully. But remember, keep your questions short to the point, and don't actually send me multiple questions in one comment, or otherwise I'll post, because you see I can't do all of them. And so I'll probably just maybe send 2 to 3 questions in your post or your comment. That way I can actually read them all that way. And because too many questions would actually just be gotten rid of, and I would not actually be able to answer them. And also, you can also follow me on Twitter at CSJILL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you. Also, for younger people out there, to make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you can have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, you get a good job in the future. And I'd like to take this moment to actually ask all my fans out there to actually help out Colossal Fossils. That is the museum that I actually work for. We're actually planning to we're planning to buy the T-Rex skeleton that we had for our first 3 months, and we'll possibly get this T-Rex by August. And we would and me and the executive director and everybody else in Colossal Fossils would like your help to help donate as much as you want. It could be $10, it could be $20, $100. It doesn't have to be a huge chunk of money. It could actually just be as much as $10 or $20. You know, that's what we're asking for. And most of that would actually go towards exhibits that we can do for each 3 months that we do. Every 3 months we do a new exhibit. And also we're actually, because the next exhibit in February we'll actually start sea monsters. So it's all marine reptiles that lived during the time of the dinosaurs, and then in May we're actually going to start pterosaurs. And so please help out as much as you can. And if you are planning to come down if you are planning to actually have any ideas to have for a museum, feel free to come on down to Colossal Fossils in Wausau, Wisconsin, in the Wausau Center Mall, and it's right across from Hot Topic. And so please come on in. It's a 3,000 square foot space, and we got some pretty cool stuff out there. We got Ice Age. We got pretty cool stuff in there. We got Ice Age mammals. We got dinosaurs. We got other fossils, especially from Wisconsin, and even talk about other types of things that are actually part of our museum. And so feel free to help out. Donate as much money as you can. Donate as much. We'll also take donations by fossils or replicas that you actually want to get rid of, and we'll actually take them in that way and so far. And this summer, if you're planning to come to Wisconsin, feel free to come and see me at Colossal Fossils, and I can give you a full-fledged tour of the place, and hopefully I can actually get you inspired about my information that I give you. All right, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.